Shalom. So, this is going to be a short chapter. Just wanted to kind of spend a few minutes saying, you know, there are much better uh, ways of learning Hebrew than my streams, people who do uh, much higher quality stuff. But I'm here for you guys. So if you have questions, if even if you're doing other chapters or old chapters or whatever, please feel free to ask about them. I try to stick around at least 15 minutes at the end. Please feel free to come onto the Discord server. Uh, so what I can offer is actually a live person, because I mean I realize there are much better uh, streams for this stuff. Okay, okay. So without further ado, let us go ahead and start on chapter 32. Um, so Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. Um, Jacob also went on his way, and the angels of God met him. And the note here is telling us that the Hebrew is actually slightly numbered differently, because what happened was when there were printers, right? Jacob Bomberg got together some actually rather prominent rabbis, and he made the first printings of what's called the Rabbinic Bible, the Mikrot Gedolot, and of the Babylonian Talmud. And so his pagination and his numbering stuck. And I think the King James, I'm not sure if, I think the numbering from the King James was the first one. And actually, King James, they used the Rabbinic Bible too. I'm not sure how the Christian numbering, different printers ended up numbering them slightly differently. And the Bomberg numbers, I believe, are the ones that's definitely what stuck for the pagination of the Talmud. I think that the Rabbinic Bible one is the one that stuck for the pagination um, of Hebrew versions of the Bible, and then I'm not sure how the Christian Bible ended up with different numbering, but there will be a few verse differences, especially in Psalms. Psalms is almost always one or two off, uh, partially because we include what's kind of considered to be the notes, you know, saying this is a Psalm of David, you know, on the Kinor or on some or uh, a song that was sung on the steps of the temple, that type of stuff. Okay, so the numbering here is a little different. I kind of take issue oftentimes if they they decide to put a break where there isn't a break in the scroll. There are closed and open, what are called closed and open breaks in the scroll. A, um, a closed break is one where there's just an indentation, but it doesn't go all the way to the margin. And an open one has an open margin. So if you're just looking down the margins, you'll see the open breaks. You won't see the closed breaks as easily, and so um, that's where I think is the natural breaks, but they don't always go. Um, I would say a closed break stuma is kind of like a paragraph marker. So, but those don't always show up. The good thing is that um, the Bible Hub Hebrew will tell you if there's a closed or open break. Okay, so and this chapter we haven't had any breaks for a few chapters, which is part of the reason why it's been like this. Anyway, okay, so let's go to the Hebrew. So that's why Chabad is numbered, right? This in the Christian Bibles is on the previous chapter. Okay, and Jacob went on his way, and angels of God met him. V'Yaakov halach ledarko, v'yifgu bo malachei Elokim. So, uh, yeah, and so, right. So, I mean, the conjunctions aren't exactly always the very same one. So it's Veyakov and Jacob, um, which kind of makes sense, I guess, why the breaks are different um, in the Hebrew. It kind of makes sense because, well, even I mean that one's also Veyashkem. Although I have to say, so that's different when you have a vav at the beginning of a word that's either in the perfect or imperfect, because that's what's called the vav hamahapechet, the that flips. Um, right. Okay. And obviously this is a noun, so there's nothing to flip. Okay. So and Jacob halach. Um, this is a verb that shows up all over the place. Ledarko, on his way, um, to his way, and derech, his way, shows up a lot. Veyifgeu, and this is pei gimel ayin. I think it has to do with kicking, actually, a pega. Um, late Hebrew. To give a pega is to um, kind of hit or kick, touch. I thought it does have to do happen light upon um, pain afflict. I thought it was related to kick and leg, but possibly not. Apparently not. Let me see if they have pega. No, don't. Guess not. Yeah, pegara is an evil occurrence, and it shows up twice in the Bible. Oh well, only once as pegara. In modern Hebrew, pegara um, is is used. So not sure what to tell you. Um, so now I'm wondering why I thought it was a kick. Anyway, v'yifka'u bo malachei Elokim, and this is malach, um, which means emissary, angel, right? In a construct chain with the Shem Elokut. So, yeah, it is what it is. Two. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's camp," and he called the name of that place Mahanaim, literally double camp. No, not double. Um, when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is the camp of God." So he named that place Mahanaim. Mahanaim means two camps. I like that better. Um, and Jacob said when he saw them, "This is the camp of God," and he named the place Mahanaim. Um, now, Vayomer Yaakov ka'asher ra'am mahane Elokim ze v'yikra shem hamakom hahu Mahanaim. Um, and I'm surprised they don't have the part of speech there. And then there's a petucha here, finally. Okay, so, and said Jacob, right? Vayomer we have all over the place. Ka'asher, um, when he saw them, as he saw them. I'm not sure I would say when, because ka'asher is, it's not a time thing, but makes the same. Ra'am, he saw them, right? Mahane Elokim ze. So mahane comes from chania, to rest, right? And a mahane is a place you rest, and yes, it is. You almost always translate it as a mahane. I mean, as camp. Um, and then again, Elokim ze. So the pronoun here is being used in as the a verb to be in the present tense, because Hebrew doesn't actually have present tense verb for to be. Vayikra, and he called Kufresh Aleph Shem Hamakom. Excuse me. So, name of the place, and that is in a construct form, and as usual, the article goes on the last term of the construct chain. Hahu, that particular one, right? And, right. Mahanaim. Now, what there is in the noun, so I'm pretty sure they have a. This is the unfolding word Hebrew grammar, and they number dual. Okay, so the dual form of a term usually refers to a pair of items. Nouns change their form according to their number, either singular, dual, or plural. The dual ending does not only mean two, but usually refers to a pair of something, such as einaim or oznaim. Um, Dual nouns always take adjectives with a plural ending, not a dual ending. So here they have oznaim, um, oznei. So that's the construct form. The construct form, yeah, it's the same as for the plural. I don't think it's different. Yeah, it's not different. Um, Yadayim, Yaday. Yeah. So the dual construct looks exactly like the plural construct. So in English, we have singular and we have plural, right? So you say I or I's. In Hebrew, you have singular, dual, or plural. So, like the ones that they're doing, ear is ozen, two ears is oznaim, and three or more ears would be azanim. Um, Same thing with yad, right? Um, Singular is yad. Yadayim is two hands, and yadim is three or more. Um, Ayin is one eye. I, Einayim is two eyes, and Einim is three or more. Right? Um, Chodesh is 1 month. Chodshayim is 2 months. Chodashim is three or more. Um, Yom, Yomayim, Yamim, right? Lots of things take this dual form. And here, this is the dual form of Machane. So the plural Machanim would be three or more, would be Machanim. Here it's Machanayim. Okay? I hope that's clear. Okay, and then there's a Petucha, there's an open break at the end of this. And that's why it's marked with a P. The the closed breaks are marked with a samech for setuma, closed. Okay. Okay. Verse 3. Then Jacob sent messengers before him to Esav, his brother, in the land of Seir, the country of Edom, or literally field of Edom. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esav in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. Jacob sent angels ahead of him to his brother Esav to the land of Seir, the field of Edom. And Rashi says Malachim Mamish, actually, literally angels. Okay, so Vayishlach Yaakov Malachim lefanav el Esav achiv Artza Seir Ste Edom. Now, so Vayishlach Shin Lamed Chet, we have a lot to send. Yaakov Malachim. So it's weird to translate Malachim one way in verse 3 and a different way in verse 2. Yes, angels are messengers, but if you're going to translate them one way, I don't see why you change the meaning here in so I wouldn't do that. Lefanav, right? Before him, right? El is with the aleph. Esav achiv, right? So Esav, his brother. Artza, so Eretz means land. Artza, the hay at the end is the directional hay, meaning towards the land or in the land. Seir, of Seir, right? It's a place. Ste Edom. So Sadeh is literally a field. So however you want to translate that, and it's in a construct form with the word Edom. Okay, verse 4. And he commanded them, saying, Speak thus to my lord Esav. Thus your servant Jacob says, I have dwelt with Lavan and stayed there until now. He instructed them, This is what you are to say to my lord Esav. Your servant Jacob says, I have been staying with Lavan and have remained there till now. And he commanded them, saying, So shall you say to my master, to Esav, that thus said your servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Lavan, and I have tarried until now. And you can read the Rashis if you want. Okay. Vayitzav otam le'emor ko tomrun. Interesting. They're saying it's the paragogic nun. Okay. La'adoni le'esav ko amar avdecha Yaakov im Lavan garti va'echar. Interesting. Ad ata. Okay, so vayetzav, the root is the same root as mitzvah, right? A commandment. So um, tzadik vav hey, and the hey often absconds. Otam, as opposed to itam, is the direct object marker, not the preposition. Le'emor, saying, right? This is the infinitive. Ko, thus. Tomrun, and they're saying that the nun at the end is the paragogic nun, and let's just read the paragogic nun here. What they say, suffix paragogic, I believe they call it paragogic nun. The paragogic nun suffix can only attach to a finite verb, and its meaning is unknown. I, I wanted to read it just so you didn't think I'm the only person who doesn't know the thing. This suffix is an unexplained feature of biblical Hebrew grammar with no discernible meaning or function. The paragogic nun is a simple consonant appearing either as a suffix or an infix. When appearing as a suffix, it stands at the end of the word, following the verb conjugation ending, as in the examples below. When appearing as an infix, the paragogic nun is usually represented by a dagesh fort. Um, that's a hard dagesh. Inside the initial letter of a pronomial suffix. Oof. So Shim'u Amim Yirgezun, right? Do they give a? They do not give a example of it in the middle, but I'm trying to think if I can think of one. Um, so Katav, right? Chaf, Taf, Bet. So um, you could say Yichtavun, right? Um, or you could say Yichtaboom, and the Vav, the um, Bet turns from a vet to a bet because it'll take a dagesh there. I think that's right. Yeah, not 100% sure on that one though. And yeah, they're saying we don't know. I mean, sometimes I think it shows up simply because it is alliterative, but yeah, I personally, I mean, I don't know how to, um, yeah, I don't know how to darshan it exactly, but I always pay attention to it. So paragogic nun. So tomrun, right? You should say la adoni, and this is where adon is used not referring to God, in a profane manner, not meaning bad, and it is used in Hebrew that way, and I think pretty much usually it is bechisaron like it is here. I'm not sure I've seen too many written bemilui. Le'esav, to Esav, ko amar, so second ko amar. Avdecha, literally your slave or your servant, right? And yes, referring to yourself as avdet, um, as an eved, avdecha, your servant, actually happens quite a bit in the Bible. I mean, I'm pretty sure when Joseph's brothers speak to him, they refer to themselves as avdecha, your servant, um, or servants. Yaakov, im Lavan garti, I lived with Lavan. So Lagur, Gimel Vav Resh, is oftentimes translated as sojourned because a ger is um, sometimes called a resident alien. It's somebody who is not native to a place. In modern Hebrew, it's come to mean a convert. A ger toshav is a particular category of uh, somebody who lives in the land of Israel and is permitted to be there. And there are specific um, laws about that in the Torah about a ger toshav. Va'echar. So this is, I believe, Aleph Chafresh is the verb here. Yeah. Uh, so it's not. I mean, I don't know if it's related to Acher or not, but to remain behind, to put off. Yeah, I don't think it is. It is related to Acher, which means other. Although I'm not sure about that. But as a verb, Aleph Chaf Resh is to spend time, uh, yeah, to remain behind, delay, tarry. And so what they're explaining here is that the Aleph is kind of being, so it's part of the root and it's part of the conjugation, and an aleph can't take a dagesh. So just like in um, to love, right? Aleph hey bet, it also can't take a dagesh. Here, I guess we could do the thing here. Where were we? Aleph het resh. And so e echar, I guess you could have two olives. I'm not sure in the Bible it actually does that. So they were saying contracted from har compare ahav. Um, so this is apparently the only time that it's just aleph fresh. Let's see. Ehav. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a double aleph in um in the Bible. I guess in modern Hebrew they use it because that's what it's showing here. And Aleph cannot take a Dagash. So okay. Um. So yeah, I tarried. I stayed there. Ad ata. Et means time. Ata means right now. This time. Next verse. 32:5. I have oxen, donkeys, flocks, and male and female servants, and I have sent to tell my lord that I may find favor in your sight. Uh, Three quotes. Okay. Um, I have cattle and donkeys, sheep and goats, male and female servants. Now I am sending this message to my lord that I may find favor in your eyes. Um, And I have acquired oxen and donkeys, flocks, manservants, and um, maidservants, and I have sent to tell this to my master to find favor in your eyes. Lots of Rashis. I'm not going to do. Okay. Vayehi li shor v'hamor son ve'eved v'shifha ve'ishleha lahagid la'adoni limtzo chen be'enecha. So Vayahili. Um, so this is the flipping, right, from the imperfect to the perfect. Um, and there are for me, I have, right? They translated it as I have acquired. Um, Shore is so in Hebrew you use the singular, where in English oftentimes you use the plural. So in English you say dogs are cute. Um, in Hebrew you would say dog is cute to kind of mean, right, many, and that's what's going on here. Shore ox is an ox, yeah. Um, and these are written Bemilui, Shor, and Hamor, which is yeah, sometimes not. Hamor is donkey. Um, Son is flocks of small animals, so that's why they did goats, I guess. Uh, Eved. Oops. Okay. Um, and male slave, manservants, the shifcha, right, female servants, va'ashlecha, and the hey at the end, they're saying third person feminine singular. I don't believe that's correct. That would be the, like we said, the paragogic nun. There is the paragogic hey, and I think that's what's going on. And again, um, what it exactly means. Uh, so the suffix should not be confused with the cohortive verbal ending, although they appear exactly alike. These suffixes are distinguished by the form of the verb to which they are attached. The paragogic he suffix always attaches to an imperative verb in biblical Hebrew, whereas the cohortative kamatz he uh, ending always attaches to an imperfect verb to to form the specific cohortative. So I guess that's what's going on here, because it's in the imperfect. And let's look at the cohortative. So the cohortative form is used to express indirect commands and other similar actions with varying degrees of desirability as determined by the context. The cohortative form looks very similar to the imperfect, but functions in a sentence more like an imperative. Cohortative verbs appear only in the first person form, right here, right? Similarly, imperatives appear only in the second person form, and jussive usually appear in the third person form. A cohortative verb does not carry the full force of a command. We must do this, but it conveys a stronger meaning than simple suggestion or statement of possibility. We could do this. This meaning is somewhere in the middle. In English, a cohortative is often translated with a helping verb, such as let, want, or will, depending on the context. Thus, the cohortative verb functions as an indirect command. The reader must examine the context to determine the strength of desirability being expressed in each specific instance. So, yeah, this would be the cohortative. I'm not sure why they labeled this third person feminine singular, but they did. Okay. Lahagid la'adoni, to say, right? So lahagid actually shows up in this form in other places as well. Um, like lahagid baboker chastecha from Psalms. To tell, it's in the infinitive. The hefil of nagad, nun gimel dalet, I believe it is. Um, yeah, nagad, to be conspicuous, and this is to make conspicuous. Um, yeah, so I guess it's usually in the hefil. Right. So um, to tell, right? La adoni, to my master, uh, and it's the so it's not the article there. It's the fact that this is with an aleph, right? And that's why it's la adoni and not le adoni. Limtso, again in the infinitive, matzah, to find, mem tzaddik aleph, to find, and this phrase limtsochen matzachen also shows up regarding Noah, right? It's a common thing to find favor, to find, to yeah. I mean, chen is grace, right? Um, be'enecha, in your eyes, in your sight. Yeah, limtsochen is a what do you call that? I think my brain is blanking right now. Sorry. Okay, verse 6. Um, Then the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esav, and he also is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." When the messengers returned to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esav, and now he is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." The angels returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother, to Esav, and he is also coming toward you, and 400 men are with him." Veyashuvu hamalachim el Yaakov lemor banu el achicha el Esav vegam holech likratcha ve'arba me'ot ish imo. So they lashuv is to return. Yeah, we've discussed this a bunch of times. It's written bechisaron with a shuruk. I mean, with a kubut. Sorry, not a shuruk. Hamalachim. Again, I would translate this the same in all of the places, and I would do angels myself. El with the aleph, Yaakov, Le'amor, Banu, Lavo, right? Bet Vav aleph. We have a lot. We came. El with aleph, Achicha, your brother. El Esav, again with the aleph. Vegam holech, so also he's going. It's in the present tense. Holech is in the participle. Likratcha, um, so likrat, weird word, to greet in Hebrew. And it always shows up in the infinitive. I'm not sure I've ever seen it not being in the form likrat. Yeah, if eh, yeah, I guess it could be a form of kara to happen. Although, yeah, I think it only shows in this verb. Yeah, it's always with the lamed at the beginning. 100 times it shows up in the Bible. Okay. Ve'arba me'ot, and 400, right? Mea is 400, me'ot, hundreds, 400. That's how you say it in Hebrew. And it is written Bemiloi. Ish imo, men, ish, right? Um, are with him. The R is implied. Um, yep, 37. I mean, 32 7. So Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that were with him and the flocks and herds and camels into two companies. In great fear and distress, Jacob divided the group who were with him into two camps, groups, sorry, or camps, and the flocks and herds and camels as well. The angels returned to Jacob, saying, "We." Oh, sorry, I just read that. Jacob became very frightened and was distressed, so he divided the people who were with him and the flocks and the cattle and the camels into two camps. Vayira Yaakov me'od vayetzer lo vayahatz et ha'am asher ito ve'et hatzon ve'et habakar והגמלים לשני מחנות. So, Yira, right? Yudresh Aleph. I usually translate as awe, right? And because it can be both awesome or awful. But yeah, was afraid, Yaakov. Me'od, very much. And me'od is almost always written by Vayetzer, oh. Um, I know what it means to be distressed. Uh, Yud Tzaddik Resh. Yeah, be narrow from Tsar. So honestly, I think this is one of those words that really makes the um, two-letter root possibility, right, argument make most sense. Tsar means um, thin, and it's used in a lot of different ways. Like tsur means to fashion, right? And I think all of these are related. Tsar, same as tsarar, right? To bind. Mm. Again, I am convinced by the two letter root uh, argument that people have. I think especially strong roots, right, like tzaddik and resh, um, when they are in that order, do indicate something. Um, Lo vayahatz, and again, so a lot of times this the verb choice in Hebrew will be alliterative, right? So yahatz means to break in half, right? Chetzi is half. Um, so and he divided, split. I would probably translate it as split because I'm not sure you can do yahatz ta'a. What? Uh, there must be a mistake here. Yeah, hatsa. There must be a mistake there. Share from arrow, maybe. I mean, chetz is an arrow, um, but I think it's always used as split. I don't know why they're doing divide. I don't know if it's ever divide into. Uh, more than two. Uh, compare Z. So they're saying Z is what? A, there must be something wrong with this page because I don't see what they mean about Z being related to 2 or splitting. Zood? Yeah, there must be something wrong with this page because, first of all, that's not the root there. And second, I have no clue what they mean here that it's related. Um, yeah, I'm just, I have no clue. I, I believe it's always, um, oh, here, Judges 9:43, Vayechetzem lishlosha, and he divided them into three. That's, yeah, this is the first time I've seen divide into three. I actually want to, let me look up this. Judges 9:43. So first Judges must be. Or is Judges? Chronicles? Judges. Oh, yeah. Why did I think first? Okay, I must be off. I thought Judges had two. I'm thinking of Shmuel, maybe. Yeah, Shmuel. Anyway, 9:43. 9:43. Vayechatzem l'shlosha. Rashi doesn't say anything. Let's see if there's a Vayechatzem. Katzat zvul b'pal harishon shachatzat imo l'shlosha rishon. Yeah, I guess it can be. And they're not making any. Let's see, Metzudat David. He's not making. He's not saying anything. Metzudat Zion. So he's saying ve'yechatzem ve'yechalkem, and he's divided them. Chelek is so. At least he's saying. Yeah, I guess it can be divided into more than two. Let's see. That's at Shlosha Rashim. Yeah, so also in seven, um, Judges 7 seems to be splitting into three. I think in modern Hebrew, if you were to say Yachatz and do more than two, people would look at you strange, but Chetzi means half. So, Vayachatz et ha'am, the people, Asher Ito, who were with him, right? So, Ito, as opposed to Oto, this isn't the direct object marker, this is the preposition with. Ve'et hatzon, ve'et habakar. So, tzon is um, a group of what we call small animals, sheep and goats, and um, so um, and bakar is large animals. So oxen, right, cows, that type of thing. Vehagamalim, and the camels, lishnei machanot, to two machanot. Um, and yes, I guess machanim. Is it always machanot? Yeah, sometimes it's machanim and sometimes it's machanot. So um, in First Chronicles 9:28. No, that's so Numbers 13:9. It's machanim, habe machanim. Hmm. So I guess it could be said in either way. Let me see how many times it shows up. Machanot. Machanim is once. Machanot 6 times. Yeah, I guess it's normally machanot. Um, and I don't know why it didn't do like Mahanaim, right? Not sure how you do the dual with a feminine ending. You might not be able to. Yeah, I think you always do it with a masculine ending. Yeah, because Shavua is 1 week, Shavuot is many weeks, and the Shavuaim is 2 weeks. Right. Okay. Where were we? Okay. Okay. Next verse. 8. And he said, if Esav comes to the one company and attacks it, literally strikes it, then the other company, which is left, will escape. He thought, if Esav comes and attacks one group or camp, the group or camp that is left may escape. Um, and he said, if Esav comes to one camp and strikes it down, the remaining camp will escape. Um, oh, okay. We will come back and read this Rashi, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Vayomer im yavo Esav el hamahane ha'achat vehikahu. Interesting. So that's why Rashi is going to explain. V'haya hamahane hanishar lifleta. So and he said, im, if, right, this is with an aleph. Um Yavo written bemilui here, which is kind of strange. Esav el with aleph, hamhane ha'achat, right? So achat is the feminine form, echad is the masculine form. Vehikahu, and so that's the third person masculine singular ending, right? So the root here is hey chaf hey is to hit, right? Like makot, right? The 10 plagues are called the asar makot, um, right? And it's hikahu, and he hits it, right? So that's what Rashi is going to explain why it, it it can be ha'achat and hikahu as opposed to hikaha. Huh? Hikaha. Yeah. Um, V'haya hamahane hanishar. So this is the nifal of Shin Aleph Resh, which means to remain. So nishar is that which has remained, right? It's the passive. Um, and it's in the present tense, right? Lifleta. So pei lamed tet is yeah, escape, I guess. Um, Pleta from palat, right? To escape, deliver, escape. I guess as a verb, it's first used in Second Samuel. The noun pleta is used a lot. Well, this is the first time in Genesis. Let me see how many times the noun is used. 28 times, relatively. Okay, let's read that Rashi. So he says, "Hamachane ha'achat vehikahu." Um, the word mahane is used both in the masculine and feminine genders. Other examples are Psalm 27:3, um, hamachane hazeh, right? Lashon zachar, and so there are other words, so like Hashemesh Yatsa is in the masculine there, and Mekitze Hashemayim Motzao Lashon Zachar. Zarcha. Oh, right. So Shemesh in Second Kings 32, it uses Zarcha, right, with a hey at the end, meaning feminine. Um, Similarly, Ruach is sometimes Gedolah, right? In Job first, that's feminine. Um, Veyifka, Veyiga, sorry, not that's without a hey, it's masculine. Gedolah and Chazak, right, is being used both in the same sentence. First Kings 19:11. This is both masculine and feminine. Similarly, Esh, right, can be both in the masculine and feminine. So he gives a bunch of things that can do that. Right. Okay. So you can look at the other places where similar things happen. Okay. Um, Then Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, return to your country and to your family, and I will deal well with you. Then Jacob prayed, O God of my father Abraham, God of my father Isaac, Lord, you who said to me, go back to your country and your relatives, and I will make you prosper. And Jacob said, O God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, the Lord who said to me, return to your land and to your birthplace, and I will do good with to you. Seeing if it's a Rashi. You might want to read the Rashis. I'm not going to do the Rashis. Okay. Vayomer im yavo esav el hama. We did that. Okay. Next. Vayomer Yaakov Elokei Avi Abraham ve'Elokei Avi Yitzchak Havaya Haomer Elai Shuv la'artzecha ulemoladetecha ve'etiva imach. Okay. Um, so I don't know where they got prayed from. I guess they're just putting that in because they don't want to say said over and over again, but it's said. Um, Yaakov. So this is a construct chain, right? Um, well, it, yeah, right. So it's Elokei Avi, right? So the God of my father, right? Abraham, Abraham. The Elokei Avi Yitzchak, and the Lord, the God of my father Isaac. So we see Av can be used as grandfather, right? But he's saying father. Havaya, right? So now it's the Tetragrammaton. Haomer, so it's in the present tense. It's in like a participle, and it has an article. So the person who the one who says, right? Um, and this is used a lot in the Bible. Hashomer, right? The guardian, right? To make a noun out of the present, the participle of a word. Uh, Alai with the aleph, shuv. So this is in the command form. Right? Go back, right? Return. Artsecha, to your land. Ula moladetcha, and to the place of your. So we had this in the previous chapter, and however you're going to translate it. Um, and the other one is how you translate it here. It comes from um, halada, which is to be born. I would not translate this as family. Ve'etiva ima, and so this is the he filled the causative of tuv, tet vav bet, which is good. Right? I will uh, deal well. I will improve. I guess maybe I would use the word improve usually, although it's not clear how well that would translate in this verb. I will do good to you. Okay, you know, yeah, that's probably how I would translate it. And again, at the end of a sentence, imcha, right, with you with the masculine, will appear to change to the feminine because of the cantillations and how you're going to darshan the fact that this happens is up to you. Okay, verse 10. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies of and of all the truth which you have shown your servant, for I crossed over this Jordan with my staff, and now I have become two companies. I am unworthy of all the kindness and faithfulness you have shown your servant. I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, but now I have become two camps. Yeah, I have become small. I actually know this verse, right? From all the kindnesses and from all the truth that you have rendered your servant, for with my staff I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become two camps. Katonti mikol hachasadim, umikol haamet asher asita, et avdecha ki bemakoli avarti et hayarden hazeh, ve'ata haiti lishne mahanot. So katanti mikol hachasadim is actually it's a common phrase that's used in um, certainly rabbinic Hebrew. I don't know. I mean, people might look at you strange if you used it in modern Hebrew, but in rabbinic Hebrew, it's certainly So the root is katan, kuf, het, nun, which is small, right? So I have been made small. Um, don't know how many other times it's used as a verb. Uh, Second Samuel, four times total. Yeah, interesting. Exodus. What? So why isn't it showing here? Wait a minute. Admat Kodesh. What? Kodesh. Noun masculine apartness. Uh, what? I don't understand what's going on here. Why are they doing all? Either there's something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with their software, and I would prefer to think that it's with their software. Right. There seems to be some sort of problem with the software, and this is showing. Let me see. Kodesh. No. Here, let me try this. So, Kodesh. Um, right. So it's showing the exact same thing. So this is ver 6942 for the Brown driver Briggs. No, thank you. So 6994 as opposed to 69. Oh, so it's showing 6944 on 6994. Yeah, somebody must have made some sort of mistake keying things in, I guess. And that's what's going on here because that makes no sense. Okay. So, okay. Sorry. All that. It's a mistake with the Bible Hub site. Um, I might have to find myself um, a different. I mean, I know there's the Blue Letter website, which is also has a lot of these aids on it. Might have to take a look at the other ones because I was interested in seeing how many times something like Katanti, Mikol HaChasadim. Well, I guess it doesn't. Yeah, I guess I mean those are all the times. Okay. Anyway, so literally, I have been made small, right? Katanti from all of Chesed is usually translated as loving kindness. right? Mercies is fine. Umikol ha'emet, and all of the truth, faithfulness. I would translate it as emet. Um, Asher asita, which you have done or shown, I guess is fine, but you have done, right? Ein sin hey, to do or to make. Et is the direct object marker. Avdecha, your servant or your slave. He bamakoli, so makal is a staff. Avarti, ein bet resh, to cross over. It's the same root as Hebrew, right? Ivri. Um, Et hayarden hazeh, this Jordan. Ve'ata, and now, right, this time, Hayiti lishnei mahanot. I have become two machanot. And I guess I could have said lamahanaim, but it decided to say lishnei machanot. Okay. Um, 11. Deliver me, I pray, excuse me, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esav, for I fear him, lest he come and attack, literally strike, excuse me and the mother with the children. Um, Save me, I pray, from the hand of my brother Esav, for I am afraid he will come and attack me, and also the mothers with the children. Um, Now deliver me from the hand of my brother, for from the hand of Esav, for I am afraid of him, lest he come and strike me, and strike a mother with children. Um, yeah, and this al banim is a symbolism that's also used with the mother bird, right? So um, we'll talk about it. Hatzileni na miad achi, miad Esav, ki yar'e anochi oto, pen yavo vehikani em al habanim. So this Hatzil, right? Like Hatzalah, it's in the Hefil imperative in the command form. So yeah, we've had cell before. Nah, I usually translate it as please. I guess you could say I pray. Um, Miyad achi, from the hand of my father, my brother, or the clutch of my brother. Miyad Esav, from the hand of Esav. Ki yar'e anochi, because I fear. Yeah, it's an adjective. Yar'e anochi. The participle. Yeah, ani your yar'e. Aleph. Present yore. Is it in the call? Let me see what the PL is. Meyare. Mm. Yeah, that would be Nora. That's yeah, Yare Anochi. I'm not exactly sure how that gets formed. My brain's somewhere else today. Sorry. Oto, him, right? The direct object marker. Pen, usually translated as lest, almost always. It shows up a lot. Yavo, written bimilui, he should come. Behikani, and strike me, attack me, right? Like we had before. M al banim, right? And there are actually there's a synagogue not too far away from here called M al um, M habanim, M al banim. So this phrase again, um, a mother with the child, literally on the child. There is this imagery in Hebrew of um, well, actually, Chris Date calls it protective bird imagery in ancient Semitic things, um, and yeah, there is this protective bird imagery, um, and here it's kind of like the same thing, like a mother upon her children, right? Kind of like a um, bird on a nest, and that's actually the symbolism. There's a commandment, right? Not to take al habanim, right? Not to take a chick um, with its mother, right? With the eggs or with the chicks. Shiluach haken, it's called, sending away the mother bird when you want to take the eggs. Um, right. So preposition with the ayin. Okay, verse 12. Um, For you said, I will surely treat you well and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. But you have said, I will surely make you prosper, and I will make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted. And you said, I will surely do good with you, and I will make your seed as numerous as the sand of the sea, which cannot be counted because of multitude. Ve'ata amarta, hetiv etiv imach, vesamti et zarecha, kahol yam asher lo yisaper merov. Um, so, and you, amarta, you said, Hativ Ativ. And yes, this repetitive language is usually translated in Hatev Ativ in as surely, right? Like Mot Yumat, right? Surely die. Let's look at the Rashis. Hatev Ativ. The double expression denotes I will do good in your merit. I will do good in the merit of your fathers. Zchod avatecha. Yeah, not. I mean, he gets it from the midrash. Um, imach again. This is because of the cantillations that it's turning from the masculine to the feminine, from imcha to imach, and you can do however you want to darshan that. Vesamti et zaracha. So literally, I will put, right, or set lasum sin vav mem. Um, your seed, zera, right, zaracha, your seed. Um, kehol, there is no article there. Hol is sand. Um, comes from halal to dig to from hul, sorry, to whirl, dance, or writhe. Mm, Again, there's the three letter thing here. Mehat, mehatach. Um. Oh, mat. Yeah. Um. Hole is sand. Um. It's written memilui. I thought it comes from halal, which means to tunnel or dig, but they're saying not. Okay. And it's in construct form with C, right? Yam, and the article as normal goes on the last, and that's why it's kehol hayam. Um, there's no article. Asher lo yisaper. So the root is samech pe resh, which um, to be numbered, to count, right? Yisaper can also be to tell, right? A sefer is a book. A sipur is a story. Um, and it's in the nifal. It's in the passive. Met rove from being great, from being multitude, right? And this written bechisaron. Yeah. Okay, verse 13. So he lodged there that same night and took what came to he had received to his hand as a present for Esav, his brother. He spent the night there, and from what he had with him, he selected a gift for his brother Esav. So he lodged there on that night, and he took from what came into his hand a gift for his brother Esav. Vayalen sham balayla hahu, vayikach min haba beyado, minha le'esav achiv. Um, so lalun lamed vav nun is to uh, lodge, to stay overnight. A hotel is called a beit malon. Um, sham there, balayla hahu, in in that very night, in that particular night. Balayla hahu. Vayikach, and he took min haba beyado, which what comes to his hand, right? But lavo liad means to be within reach, right? Which he had. I think it's a common phrasing. Excuse me. Um, mincha le'esav. So a mincha, I mean, people will recognize it as the afternoon prayers in uh, and a mincha. I mean, the word is used as referring to the afternoon sacrifice. I think particularly from when it's from a veget vegetation. Offering means whether grain or animals. So apparently, it is also used grain offering. So no, I mean here it's saying grain offering. Uh, Where is it? Yeah, afternoon, evening grain offering, uh, wheat or grain offering. So why is it saying it's also animals? Yeah, it's always a grain offering. I'm not sure why it's they say from an animal. AV meat offering, Judges 322. Misleading. Yeah, I think it's always grain offering, and possibly they're trying to say that it's not because um for Christological reasons that sometimes happens. Let me I'm asking Rabbi Joe um if he knows, um and I'll put it in the comments if he knows of an instance where it's used for an animal offering, because I thought it's specifically grain offerings, and they're saying that that's misleading, but they're not saying where. Let's see, maybe Isaiah 66 is talking. Have you et kol achechem mikol hagoyim mincha lahavaya basusim uvarachavot paradim akirkarot hakochi Yerushalayim bene bichlei tahor beit havaya. Yeah, no. Um, this is on right. So it's obviously you can't bring a horse, so it can't possibly mean. Yeah, I'm not sure where they're saying mincha is grain is an animal offering, but they do say it. Velud Moshe Keshet Tubal Yavan Kim. Yeah, I'm not sure why they're saying that it can be. I will put a comment um if I find where it could have been not a grain offering, but anyway, as I probably wouldn't translate this as a present. I would usually say as an offering, so that the word mincha translates. Um, but mincha is a grain offering, pretty sure. If it's used of animals, it's rarely so. But and honestly, this for Christological reasons, Christians will constantly try to say that like life and blood and animals are necessary, So there's a motivated reading there. Okay. Le'esav achiv, to Esav, his brother. I am not aware of Mincha ever referring to animals. Okay. 14. 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams. Um, Again, obviously, these aren't actual offerings. Um, because then it talks about camels and stuff. So, yeah. Okay. Where were we? 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 lambs, 200 she goats and 20 he goats, 200 ewes and 20 lambs. Interesting. So, yeah, Rashi just explaining you need fewer males than females in a flock. Okay. Izim matayim ve'uteyashim aseret esrim. Sorry, rechalim matayim ve'elim esrim. So, izim, I guess, is specifically female goats, and ez is a goat. Matayim, right? So again, this is the double number, FD uh, feminine dual, I guess it is. They're saying. Utiashim esrim. So tiash is a male goat. Esrim 20. Rechelim, again, use matayim 200. The dual again, ve'elim esrim, and 20 rams. Ayel is a ram. Okay, 15. 30 milk camels, with their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 foals. So, 30 female camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, and 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. 30 nursing camels with their young, uh, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 she donkeys and 10 he donkeys. Gebalim minikot uvnehem shloshim parot arbaim ufarim asara atonot esrim ve'ayarim asara. Okay, so gemalim miyenikot. So the yenek yud nun kuf, I believe it is to nurse. Yeah, yanak, to suck. Um, and it's in the hefil participle, right? So it's in the causative, cause to suck. And I always forget which one's suckle and which one's nurse. Yeah, nurse is to give. So nursing, I would I would um I would translate this as nursing camels. Yeah, and they did that as well. Um, Uvnehem and their cults and their kids, their children. Shloshim, written bechizaron. Parot arbaim, right? So cows, and parim asara, right? So cows and bulls. Parot uparim. Atonot, written bechisaron, if you're paying attention. So a ton is a female donkey. Ayar, ayarim. So those are male donkeys. Let's see what Rashi had to say with uvnehem. And they're young with them. According to Midrash Agadah, the word uvnehem means ben the builder. Oh, a male corresponding to a female. And since the cat is discreet in making, okay, so there's a midrash which says uvnehem is the ones that is actually the males. Um, yeah, I mean, if you want to go with that midrash. Okay. Then he delivered them to the hand of his servant, every drove by itself, and said to his servants, pass over before me, and put some distance between successive droves. He put them in the care of his servants, each herd by itself, and said to his servants, go ahead of me, and keep some space between the herds. Um, And he gave into the hands of his servants each herd individually. And he said to his servants, pass on ahead of me and make a space between one herd and another herd. Vayiten biyad avadav eder levado. Vayomer el avdav ivru lefanai verevach tasimu bein eder uvein eder. So, um, 10, right? He gave or he set um, in the hands of his servants or his slaves, right? So he gave them. Um, so the word eder means a herd, a flock, and so eder, right? Um, so separated ones. This is how you say it in Hebrew, right? One by one. Eder, levado by itself, right? Each. Vayomer el avadav, and so he said to with the aleph, his slaves, his servants, ivru lefanav. So again, ever is to cross, right? And you'll notice there's a lot of alliteration, right? Eder, avdav, right? Ivru. This is a very alliterative verse, poetic verse. Verevach tasimu. So revach um, can sometimes mean fortune, but um, it's here. I mean, it's pretty clear. It means space. So space, interval, respite, relief. Um, yeah, maybe relief. Oh, so Ravach literally comes from space. Pretty sure Ravach can also mean fortune. Identical with smell. So ruach, right, is um, literally a wind. So yeah, space. Revach tasimu, and so leave a space, leave a revach. Um, tasim is um, the imperfect of lasum, to put sin above men. Bein eder uvein eder, between each herd, between and between. Yeah. Okay, verse 17. And he commanded the first one, saying, when Esav my brother meets you and asks you, saying, to whom do you belong, and where are you going? Whose are these in front of you? He instructed the one in the lead, when my brother Esav meets you and asks, who do you belong to, and where are you going, and who owns all these animals in front of you? Um, And he commanded the first one, saying, when my brother Esav meets you and asks you, saying, to whom do you belong, and where are you going, and for whom are these before you? V'yetzav et harishon le'emor, ki yifgashcha Esav achi she'elcha, sorry, le'emor, lemi ata va'ana telech, ulami ele lefanecha. So Vayitzav, and he commanded, right? Et Harishon, the first one, um, and that's written Miloi Rishon. Well, with a Bob, Le'emor, saying, Ki Yifgashcha. So when, since, because, doesn't work that well. Pe Gimel Shin is to meet, to encounter. Um, a meeting in modern Hebrew is called a Pikisha. Um, yeah, common bound. Have this in common. Yeah, and you can use your concordance if you want to. Esav Achi, right, my brother. Vish Vish Elcha. Oh, it's um, yeah. I'm not sure why it's Vish Alpha. Conjugate, conjunctive perfect. Um, the um, nekudot, the vocalization, it might be because of the cantillation marks. I don't know cantillation very well, um, but this is vocalized differently than I would have guessed. Must be the cantillations. Lamor saying lemi ata. So again, the pronoun is being used as the present tense of the verb to be. Right? To who are you? Right? To who do you belong? Um, the Anna, and this word Anna is interrogatory. I think it is related to having um, the directional hey at the end. I think so. Although that's not what they're saying. Anyway, I mean, it is used a bunch of times, 40 times in the Bible. So, telech, right? Where are you going? Ulami ele lefanecha. And to whom, right, do they belong? I have no clue why this would be uh, in the would be capitalized. Whom did they do that in that thing? No, they didn't. Oh, oh, I see. Capitalized because supposedly it's the beginning of a sentence. The way they translated it. Okay, are these before you? Right, these in front of you. Um, the pronoun is what's so the ele is um, being used kind of as a present tense of the verb to be. Okay. 18. Then you shall say, they are your servant Jacob's. It is a present sent to my lord Esau. And behold, he also is behind us. Then you are to say, they belong to your servant Jacob. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and he is coming behind us. You shall say, I belong to your servant Jacob. It is a gift sent to my master to Esau, and behold, he himself is behind us. Ve'amarta la'avdecha le'Yaakov minha hi shlucha la'adoni le'esav vehine gam hu acharenu. So, you should say, right, la'avdecha, to your servant, right? They belong to your servant or your slave, Yaakov. Mincha he, right? So again, the pronoun is being used as the verb to be, and it's he as opposed to who, because mincha is feminine, and like I've said, a lot of times in the Bible, he is spelled with a vav, and we've discussed that before. Shlucha, right? So this is the feminine um, of the passive participle. Um, La'adoni le'esav, right, to my master, to Esav, vehine, and behold, gam hu acharenu. Again, the pronoun is being used as the verb to be, and acharenu, right, behind us. Verse 19. So he commanded the second, the third, and all who followed the droves, saying, in this manner you shall speak to Esav when you find him. He also instructed the second and the third and all the others who followed the herds. You are to say the same thing to Esav when you meet him. You shall say, I belong to your servant Jacob. It is a gift sent to my master, to Esav, and behold, he himself is behind us. Now I'm wondering why Rashi. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to do the Rashi, although it's an interesting Rashi. Okay. ויצב גם את השני, גם את השלישי, גם את כל ההולכים אחרי העדרים, לאמור, כדבר הזה תדברון אל עשיו במוצאיכם אותו. Commanded also, right, the Hashani, the second, Shlishi, the third, Gam et kol haholchim, right? All the going in the present tense. I mean, pretty simple stuff. Acharei ha'adarim, after the herds, right? Eder, like we had before, this is the plural. Le'amor, kedavar hazeh, saying the same thing, this manner, right? Tidabrun, again with the paragogic nun at the end, right there. El with aleph, esav, bemotzaechem, right? So when you find him, when you encounter him, right? When you, yeah, it's the infinitive of limtso, motzaechem, oto, him. Okay, verse 20. And also say, behold, your servant Jacob is behind us, for he said, I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perhaps he will accept me. And be sure to say, your servant Jacob is coming behind us, for he thought, I will pacify him with these gifts I am sending on ahead. Later, when I see him, perhaps he will receive me. Um, and he commanded also the second one, also the third one. Oh, and you shall say, also, behold, your servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease his anger with the gift that is going before me. Um, and afterwards, I will see his face. Perhaps he will favor me. Yeah, we're probably going to come back and read this Rashi. Okay. ואמרתם גם הנה עבדך יעקב אחרינו, כי אמר אכפרה פניו במנחה ההולכת לפני, ואחרי כן אראה פניו אולי יישא פני. Okay, so אמרתם גם הנה עבדך, right, like we had before, אחרינו, כי אמר, because he said, אכפרה. So, interesting. Um, the root is chaf pe resh, which is the same root as Yom Kippur, right? The Day of Atonement. Um, chapra panav. So, um, pacify, appease. I'm not sure I like that, and this is why we're going to read the Rashis, right? Chapra panav. I will do away with his anger. That's the Onkelos, Targum Onkelos. So actually, let's go back to Genesis. Uh, propitiate. Okay, let's look at the Targum here. Targum Onkelos. V'temrun af ha'avdach Yaakov ate patrana. Array amar anchine l'rugze. So, yeah, I will bring down his anger, rest his anger. But to kruvta the azlat with the kruvta, yeah. Lakadamai batar pohi Tamrun of Amar Narat Yat Savar Apoy Bedorona. So this is not actually the Targum Yonatan, even though it's called the Targum Yonatan because there's no Targum Yonatan on the Torah. Savar Apoy Bedorana. Savar Apoy. Hmm. Um. Yeah. So the Targum is the Targum says Nicha Rugze. Um, anyway, where were we? Similarly, in your treaty, so Isaiah 28:18 also uses vechaper in a similar manner. Kapara in 47:11. It appears to my eyes that any kapara near to sin or transgression or near the word countenance are terms of wiping away or removal. This is Aramaic, and there are many instances in the Talmud. Right, in the Talmud, chaper yadav, it's to wipe. In biblical Hebrew, also, the sacred sprinkling basins are called kefurei zahav because the priest wipes his hands. So Ezra 1:10. Yeah, I mean the word kapar here is singular, right? A kapra. Mm, I'm not sure I would translate it appease. I mean that's how the Targum Onkelos did it. I would probably I would want to translate in a way that would um, elicit the atonement that we're talking about here, right? Um, I'm not sure how I would translate. I would. I don't think I would translate it as "I will appease." Maybe I would use the tone "achaprapanav" um, in front of him, right? I would be made clean before him. I would probably use the word atone. But mincha, so with the offering, the mincha, right? Um, there is the article in the vocalizations. Haholechet, right? So this is the part. This is the present tense, the participle. Lefanai, va'acharechen, and then afterwards, um, sorry, panav, I will see him. Ulai yisa panai. So, um, to raise someone's face means to like someone, to um, maybe forgive. I mean, literally, this is he will raise my face. Yisa panai. They translated favor me. Yeah, nisyat panim. Can also mean to acknowledge someone or to recognize someone. Pretty sure. Yisapana. So in the priestly blessings, um, Yisapana vichuneka, right? God will raise His face towards you, His countenance. Okay, next verse. 21. So the present went on over with before him, but he himself lodged that night in the camp. So Jacob's gift went on ahead of him, but he himself spent the night in the camp. Um, so the gift passed on before him, and he lodged that night in the camp. V'ta'avor hamin, excuse me, hamincha al panav, vehu lan balayla hahu b'machane. We've had all these words, right? Ta'avor, passed over. I wouldn't put went over because has this thing like ever, right, to cross. Hamincha al panav, right, with the ayin before him, in front of him, the hu lan, and he, again, lalun, right, lodge, slept over, balayla haihu, on that night, that particular night, ba mahane. And there is the alliteration, again, between mincha, mahane. This is a very poetic text, which I don't know how you translate that. Okay, 22. And he arose, excuse me, let me get some water. Uh, and he arose that night and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed over the ford of Yabok. That night Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 female servants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Yabok. Um, and he arose during that night, and he took his 2 wives and his 2 maidservants and his 11 children, and he crossed the ford of the Yabok. Okay, so you can do the Rashi if you want to. Okay. Vayakom balayla hu, vayikach et shtei nashav, ve'et shtei shifchotav, ve'et achad asar yaladav, vayavor et ma'avar yabok. Um, so he got up in the night. All right, there is that article there. But Balila. Uh, so uh, Balila that night. Uh, I guess Lila is masculine. Yeah, Balila Hahu. Yeah, it is masculine. So that night, Balila Hu, in that night. Vayikach et shtei nashav, and he took his 2, right, nashim, isha. Nashim is the plural of isha. Right? So 2 women, his 2 women, his 2 wives. Bet shtei shifchotav. So however you're translating shifchotav, um, obviously he's talking about Bilhah and Zilpah. Um, so maybe concubines, but again, it could be female slaves or maidservants. Ve'et achadasar yaladav, and his 12 children. Um, I probably would not translate this as sons because yeled, right, is not banim. Um, comes from to give birth. Right? Vayavor et ma'avar yabok, crossed over the crossing. Probably translate this as crossing, not ford, because ma'avar comes from the root ever, right? Ayin betrash, and yabok is the name. Okay, 23. Um, he took them, sent them over the brook, across, and sent over what he had, and he had sent them across the stream. He sent uh, all over all his possessions, um, and he took them and brought them across the stream, and he took across what was his. V'yikachem v'yavirem et hanachal v'yaver et asher lo. So v'yikachem, and he took them, right? V'yavirem. Strangely, usually Hefil will have the yud there. This Hefil does not have the yud there. It's written b'chisaron, which is a little strange to me. But he caused them to cross, right? It comes from, again, this. I would use cross, or yeah, pass, or right, um, because I try to keep the same word over and over again. At hanachal, the brook or the stream, or right, vayaver, um, et asher lo, and he uh, caused to go over that which was his, that which he had. Pretty simple sentence. Vayivat. Oh, sorry. 24. Uh, then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day or dawn. So Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him till daybreak. And Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the break of dawn. Veyivater Yaakov levado, ve'yabek ish imo ad alot hashachar. So, uh, yivater, right? It's the nifal of yeter, to be left behind. Um, yeah, yeter. To remain over. Um, it's in the passive, yivater. Yaakov levado, by himself, right? Alone. Ve'yabek, so Ayin Bet Gimel, Kuf, sorry. Evek is dust, right? And so here wrestle is related to the word dust. I'm pretty sure. From an unused word, they say. Wrestle, get dusty. Yeah, I agree. Um, in Assyrian, avaru, right? Avir is a is strong. To be dust, yeah, from abak. Uh, yeah, to get dusty. Um, and again, it's in the nifal. It's in the passive. So, and he was dusted. Well, yeah. I mean, wrestled is right, but it comes from the word dust. Ish imo, a man with him. Ad alot hashachar. Um, until alot. So alot is from ole, which means to rise, right? So the break of day until the the beginning of day, until morning. Um, so yeah, avec, Rashi says Menachem explains a man became covered with dust, right, derived from avak dust, for they were raising dust with their feet through their movements. I believe, however, that is a term meaning to be that he attached from the Aramaic, the abiku, and he would tie the abik. For so it is explained that this was right, the sorrow shall yeah. So Rashi's saying he thinks it comes from Aramaic. Uh, I'm gonna have to go with Menachem here. Seems to me it should be dust from dust. And if you want to know uh, why you the two commentaries on Rashi um, are the Maharal Miprag. The Maharal of Prague wrote the Gur Aryeh, which is literally means kit of the lion. Um, and there's Rabbi Eliyahu Mizrahi. Those are the two preeminent um, commentaries on Rashi. Okay. Anyway, not that you needed to know that. Okay. Verse 25. Now, when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he struck the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. When the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. When he saw that he could not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip became dislocated as he wrestled with him. Um, we might go back to the Rashi's. Vayar ki lo yachol lo veyiga bechaf yerecho veteka kaf yerech Yaakov beheavko imo. Yeah, we're gonna go back and read the Rashi's. So Vayar, and you saw Kilo Yahol, because he could not, right? Literally, Yahol means to be able to. And yes, I'm kind of um, surprised that it's written without a vav at the. Although maybe it's no. Well, this is the one Yahol. Let's see. 14 times Yahol, and apparently, well, no, here in Numbers 13 it's written Ben Milui. In First Samuel's it's written, but then, so out of the 14 times, I count 4 times that it's written Ben Milui, and 10 times that it's written by Hisaron. V'yiga, right, and he touched. Negiah is to touch. Bechaf yerecho. So chaf is like palm. Um, is also like spoon. So to say that it's socket makes sense. Yerech is hip or lap. Kaf yerech, yeah, socket of the hip. Vitika, right? And this is yud kuf ayin, to dislocate or alienate. Hmm. Arabic is fall down. Hmm. Apparently, yeah. Oh, to be disgusted. Hmm. Hmm. A primitive root, properly to sever oneself, by implication to be dislocated, to be alienated, hang up, out of joint. Yeah, yud kuf ayin. Chaf yerech, right? The same. Yaakov beheavko, right? In the dusting, right? The wrestling emo with him. Yeah. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." And he capitalized that "me" because it's supposedly Jesus. That's what Christians say. Then the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go." Oh, did I forget to read this? But he said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me. I will not let you go unless you bless me." And again, with the capitalizations. Um, and it's weird because the traditional understanding of this is that this is not a good person or thing, and um, to try to tie it to Jesus is, I believe, a complete mistake. But anyway, you could have guessed that. And he, the angel, they're saying, they're specifying, said, "Let me go, for dawn is breaking." But he, Jacob, said, "I will not let you go unless you have blessed me." Vayomer shalcheni ki Allah hashachar. Vayomer lo ashalechacha ki im barachtani. Okay, so he says, "Shalcheni," right? Let me go. Send me away. I would probably translate it. Um, but yeah, Ki Allah hashachar. Like, so we had Alot hashachar before. It broke dawn, came up the sun. Right, the day. Vayomer lo ashalcha. I'm not gonna let you go or send you away. Ki im. So except uh, unless berachtani, you bless me. Barachta oti berachtani. Yeah. Um, Again, I think Christological reading of this is a complete mistake. Okay, so he said to him, "What is your name?" He said, "Jacob." The man asked him, "What is your name, Jacob?" He answered, and he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said, "Jacob." Vayomer alav ma shmecha. Vayomer Yaakov. So said to him, right, with the aleph, Ma shemecha. What is your name? Pretty simple stuff. Vayomer Yaakov, and he said Yaakov. Simple sentence there, nothing surprising. 28. And he said, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, prince with God." Israel. Uh, yeah, not sure I would translate that as prince. That's a weird note there in the NKJV. For you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. Um, then the man said, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel." Probably means he struggles with God, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome. Yeah, this idea that it's Sar, eh, not okay. Um, Interesting. The This Rashi is making me think of something else, which has nothing to do with this. I might come back and study this myself. Sorry. Um, yeah, that's an interesting Rashi. I'm gonna probably come back. I mean, I've read all these Rashis before, but can't remember all the Rashis I read. So Vayomer lo Yaakov Ye'amer od Shimcha ki im Israel ki sarita im Elohim. Well, Elohim we would translate it probably. With God, angel of God. I would I would say that this is not a I would say that this is a profane use of the word Elohim. Yeah, that's what I would say. Ve'im anashim vetuchal. Anyway. So he said, Lo Yaakov ye Amer. So this is in the Nifal. It's in the passive ye Amer. Um, Od Shimcha, any more your name. Ki'im, rather, right? Israel. Kisarita. So it's giving you the etymology there with sarita, right? Struggled. Um, to persist, exert oneself, persevere. Sarita. The only other place it's used is in Hosea 12:3. Arabic, persist, persevere. Isaiah 28:25. Sora, Rose, Usara. Uh, Probably dittograph or following Sa'ara. I have never seen the word dittograph before. What is a dittograph? A mistaken repetition of a letter, word, or phrase by a copyist. Okay, that's the first time I have seen that word. Um, that's not what I assumed it means, but okay. Uh, Sur, meek princes. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a ton written if you're interested. Im Elohim, or if you're saying it, yeah, I would translate this as angels actually, not God. Um, but they're kind of saying, and Rashi actually also brings Hosea. Okay, we're gonna read the Rashi. Okay, um, it shall no longer be said that you're blessing through trickery and deceit. Akava ve remia, right? And so I was having this discussion on the Discord server about whether Ekev is lashon remia, is trickery or not. But with nobility and openness, right? Srara. So that's what Rashi's saying. Um, so Yisra. So they're kind. So he's kind of saying a lot like the King James is. And change your name. He will acknowledge them, the blessings, right, as being Jacob's. This is the meaning of what is written. He strove, right? So Hosea 12:15. is actually talking about this as well. Where were we? 12:5. Sorry. Veyisar el malach veyuchal. Right. So Hosea is referring to this also. Um, you will find him where he will speak with us. בירך אותו שם, היה מתחנן להמתין לו ולא רצה. Apparently this is from the Zohar. Yeah, honestly, my mind is not working 100% right now. Um, so I'm just gonna leave it there. There's that Rashi there, and you can do that if you want. Ve'im anashim, and with men, so with, I would say, angels and men, not God and men, but um, again, my mind isn't working completely. Vetuchal. So this is the um, form of Yahol, right? Be able to, that we had before. Okay, 29. Then Jacob asked, saying, "Tell me your name, I pray." And he said, "What is it that you ask about my name?" And he blessed him there. Jacob said, "Please tell me your name." But he replied, "Why do you ask my name?" Then he blessed him there. And Jacob asked and said, "Now tell me your name." And he said, "Why is it that you ask for my name?" And he blessed him there. Vayishal Yaakov vayomer, Hagida na shemecha, vayomer, lama ze tish'al lishmi, vayivarech oto sham. So, Vayishal, right? Shin Aleph Lamed is to ask, right? Yaakov, uh, Vayomer, he said. Hagida, so tell me, right? Tell, Hagid. Like we had Lahagid earlier. Na, please, is how I usually translate it. Shemecha, your name. And Vayomer, and he said, Lama ze. So, what is this? Why is this? Why? Right? Tish'al. So literally, it's the imperfect, which is the incomplete action, which is what's happening, right? Why are you asking me? I would probably translate this, are asking me, or do you ask? Leash me, about my name, right? My name, for my name, right? Vayivarech oto sham, and he blessed him there. Um, verse 30. So Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, face of God, for I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved. So Jacob called the place Peniel, means face of God, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." And Jacob named the place Peniel, for he said, "I saw an angel face to face, and my soul was saved." Yeah. Okay. Vayikra Yaakov Shem Hamakom Peniel Ki Ra'iti Elohim. Hello. So why the previous one they didn't translate it that way? Honestly, I think it's a profane use of Elohim here. Panim el panim, veni vetinatzel nafshi. So he called the place Shem Hamakom, right? The place name of that place, right? Peniel, right? Not gonna do the names, but Ki Ra'iti Elohim, because I saw angels. I would not translate this as God. Panim el panim, right? Face to face. Vetinatzel nafshi. The tinatzel is natal, right? Like hatzala we had before, right? It's in the nifal. So was preserved and saved my nefesh, my life, my soul. Okay, 31. We're almost done. Just as he crossed over Penuel, same as Peniel, the sun rose on him and he limped on his hip. The sun rose above him as he passed Peniel. Penuel, a variant of Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. Um, and the sun rose for him when he passed Penuel, and he was limping on his thigh. Uh, yeah, we're not going to do that. Vayizrach lo hashemesh ka'asher avar et Penuel vehu solea al Yericho. So, um, Zayin Resh Het Zoreach means um, to beam, right? So Mizrach is east because that's where the sun comes up, right? And Zoreach, I think, is to rise or come forth. I think it's always about uh, the sun. Of the sun, right? Shamash a permanent to irradiate, shoot forth beams. I think Zarech is always used of the sun. Oh, also used of God, Isaiah 61. Havaya alaych zara. Right. Job, no, that's Shemesh. In Malachi 4:2, it's talking about righteousness. No, there also, it's, I mean, the sun is there. So, yeah. So shone upon him, I would probably translate it, or rose upon him. Shone upon him is how I would translate it. The sun Hashemesh, Ka'asher Avar Penuel, as he was passing, crossing over again. Avar is being used over. Behut Solea, Tzadik Lamed Ayin, limp. Used 4 times in the Bible. Judah. So in the other places, it's talking about Judah. The nominative of tsela, rib or side. Oh, oh, yeah. Okay. that makes sense. So tsela is side, rib, right? So where in Genesis we have Adam's rib, right? Tsela, and so Leah, right? Limping, shuffling side to side. Probably I would translate it. Um, yeah. So limping. Okay. Yeah, it's from Tsela, meaning side. People translate it as rib. I don't think right. Al Yeracho. Right. So he was shuffling maybe on his hip. Yeah. Okay. 32. I believe this is the last. Uh, Therefore, to this day, the children of Israel do not eat the muscle that shrank, which is on the hip socket, because he struck the socket of Jacob's hip in the muscle that shrank. Therefore, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the tendon attached to the socket of the hip, because the socket of Jacob's hip was touched near the tendon. Um, Therefore, the children of Israel may not eat the displaced tendon, which is on the socket of the hip, until this day, for he touched the socket of Jacob's head in the hip sinew. Uh, we'll probably come back to this. Okay. Alken lo yochlu, and even though it sounds like yechol to be able to, this is to eat. So there is some. I mean, there's alliteration there. Bnei Israel et gid hanasheh asher al kaf hayerach yarach sorry ad hayom hazeh he naga bekaf kaf yerach Yaakov begid hanasheh. So therefore al ken lo yochlu. So the root here is aleph chaf lamed, um, which is to consume, to eat. Right? Literally, will not eat. So I understand. Yeah, I guess should not eat. Uh, it's in the it's in the imperfect. Bnei Israel, and yes, we, to this day we don't eat the gita nashe. It's forbidden. The children Bnei Israel, right? Et gid hanashe, and the word nashe. So gid is a sinew, right? I don't know how many times it's used in the Bible. 7 times. Good. Um, yeah. Invade or attack. I was thinking good is uh, to join. Gadad. Penetrate. No. Good at do. Well. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the word gid. I guess it only shows up how many times in the Bible? 7 times, which isn't as much as I thought. It certainly made its way into modern Hebrew and rabbinic Hebrew. So Hanasheh, vein in the thigh. This is the only two places from Nasha, to forget. Nun shin hey. That's used 6 times. Now, Let's see what Rashi says. Gid Hanashe. Now, why is its name Gid Hanashe? Because it sprang Nasha out of its place and rose, and that root is a term of springing. Similarly, Jeremiah 51:30. Nashta Gevertam. Failed. And similarly below, so in Nishnei Lahayam et kol Amalek. Rashi's saying it's kefitza. Hmm. And apparently the Talmud talks about it. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you can use your concordance, and they're saying the Brown driver Briggs is saying that it's forgotten in Assyrian, um, Aramaic, and Arabic. Nisha is to forget in Aramaic. I'm trying to think if I remember that. Nashni. Yeah, I mean, you can look at Genesis 41:51. Um, that's where the name Menashe, I think, is. Yeah, Joseph says Menashe. Let's look. Since it is the last thing. By the way, if you have questions and you want to, yeah, they translate it as forget as well. So these are yeah, there's no Rashi there, so they're translating it also as forget. Although Rashi says that that's proof that it's lashon kefitza. Leaping, springing, uh, rising. Yeah, not sure what you're gonna do with that one. Sorry. And the rest of the words, right? Naga, touched. I would translate it as touch, not struck. Bechaf Yerach Yaakov, Begid. Yeah, and we've had the rest of these words. Okay, I am going to stick around for another 15 minutes if anybody has any questions. But I'm also going to say Stefania 3:9, as we usually do. Ki az epoch el amim safa barura likro cholam b'shem havaya le'ovdo shchem echad. Uh, for then I will restore, turn over El Amin to the peoples. Safa Berra, pure, winnowed language. Likro Hulam, so that they may all call Hashem Havaya, in the name of God. Le'ovdo Shem Echad, to serve him with one accord, with one shoulder. Yeah. So I am gonna hang around, and you can tell me, and you can ask questions if anybody would like, or come to the Discord. I'm gonna try to see if I can find out if mincha is used for. So this is Wikipedia. It says gift offering, right? Mincha, Hebrew mincha. A meal offering, grain offering, or gift offering is a type of biblical sacrifice, specifically a sacrifice that did not include sacrificial animals. In older English, it is sometimes called an oblation from Latin. The Hebrew noun mincha is used 211 times in the Masoretic text of the Hebrew Bible, with the first instance being the mincha offering by both Cain and Abel in Genesis 4 3 through 5. It is also used of Jacob's presents to Esav. Um, so I guess from the use in Genesis 4, they're trying to say that it includes meat. In the King James Version of 1611, this was rendered as a meat offering in Exodus 29:41, since at the time the King James Version was written, meat referred to food in general rather than the flesh of animals in particular. Um, Gift offerings were often made on their own, but also accompanied the burnt offering. Scholars, it doesn't say who, believe that the term gift offering originally referred to all voluntary sacrifices, but later came to just refer to non meat offerings. The quintessential gift offering was one of grain, frankincense, and oil. The grain. Yeah. Um, I mean, I guess we could look at Genesis 4 and see uh, if it makes sense to say, although this is before the Torah was given, but ואדם ידע ותוסף ללדת אחיו ואם מקץ יבוא קין אדם מפני האדמה מנחה להוויה. So in 5:3 it's mincha. No. Oh, ve'el minchato, right? So here in 4:4, it's, yeah, it's referring to not um to uh, to Abel's offering, which was of meat.